Tasting. Is it on?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Hi, I'm Allison Hardson. I'm the Director of Development Services, and I apologize for the delay. We have a technical problem with the connection between our soundboard and our microphones and the video to our to YouTube for streaming. We have people working on it remotely, and we have somebody on the way. In the meantime, because it has now been 11 minutes that you could have been somewhere else and doing other things, we're going to go ahead and start the meeting and record the sound. I'm going to set up a recording, or a phone to record from one corner for video, and when we get the iPad unlocked, we'll do the same. So that means that when you go back to see this meeting online, it may just be sound with no picture. But we do need to keep a recording for legal purposes and to back up our minutes. So when you get up to, if you're coming up here to make a presentation, you do need to speak directly into the microphone because that's what we've got as sound. If you would like to address, if something comes up and you think, oh, I'd like to address that, you're going to have to come up here. We're not going to be able to hear anybody from the audience. We're not really excited about people yelling at us from the audience anyway, but it happens. But just understand that if it needs to go on the record, it needs to go here. I'm going to turn it, I'm going to ask my staff if it's recording, and then I'm going to turn it over.
The remote is not working either, so I'm having her go down and get all the remote.
Okay.
Maybe. With all the work they're doing, you suppose? Could be something with that, all the work they're doing on the rounds.
Here.
All right. Do we have the sound running?
We now have sound running.
Okay, sound is now running. And Mr. Chairman, at your earliest opportunity.
Sounds like right now. I call this meeting of the Lancaster County Planning Commission to order. Would the clerk please call roll?
Francis Liu, Sheila Henson,
Here.
Michelle Richards.
Here.
Judiana Tinklenberg,
Here.
Lynette Henson.
Here.
Yokima Curitan.
Here.
Jason Cavalier.
Here. Would the clerk please make a note on the record that the quorum of the Planning Commission is present. The public notice of the meeting, including the meeting agenda, has been posted the required length of time in the lobby of the County Administration Building and on the county website, and that the news media was notified of the meeting time and place. Welcome everyone to the Lancaster County Planning Commission. Please make sure all your electronic devices are silenced. No hats while we're in here, and respect to all the other rules of the room. Keep your shirts on, etc. And if you would now please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. I'd like to offer a prayer. Father God, I thank you for this opportunity. Lord, we rise to give you glory, honor, and thanks. We thank you for life, health, and strength. God, we thank you for safe travels and for the opportunity to serve Lancaster County with our whole hearts. We thank you, Lord, that you are faithful, that you have never lied, and that you have always continued to show us the right way. Father, we ask you for boldness, Lord. We ask you for wisdom, and we ask you for direction as we make decisions for the betterment of all of Lancaster County. And at the end of the day, we will be careful to give you all the glory, honor, and praise your name deserves. In the mighty name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Beautiful prayer.
Was there one more coming? I was watching you. Make sure he got it, okay. All right, our first item is approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to add the election of officers to the agenda. It was omitted. It was brought up at the end of our last meeting.
Second.
You're asking to add the election of officers tonight.
I am.
I don't think we can change the agenda for that. It has to be within a
It
time frame.
does. It has to be within 24 hours, so we can't add that to it. We can add it to the next one if you'd like.
The
We had
public
a
notice
discussion with
would
the
not
county
be,
attorney on this, who made the appointment, or made the interpretation that the one that we did in February was adequate.
I think that the public record would indicate that I asked the question if those were interim terms, and I was told that they were, which would mean that technically that would be over.
We'll be happy to get you an official full response on that from the county attorney at the next meeting.
Okay, I would also let the record to please indicate that I think that those here tonight and present should be allowed to vote only for whenever we hold that election.
Repeat that for me, please.
I would like the record to please indicate that only those present at tonight's meeting be allowed to vote when we have that election.
So I have a question. Oh.
Before you do that, I'd like to indicate that we'll investigate Robert's Rules of Orders on that and come back to you on that as well.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to look at South Carolina Code 692930 through 629-380 and South Carolina Code 3480. And since we didn't talk about any changes or omissions, I just don't understand I don't understand why we're not voting tonight, because we've always voted. I mean, I've been on this like 2 years in a row, I know, and we've always voted in July, so I'm just not understanding.
I have two answers for you, and I can help you with the understanding for sure. First off is that the history of the Planning Commission, when we went through it all the way back to 2000, the majority of the votes were held in January. There was a change in that. Second thing is that the indication of the items on the agenda is not in Section 629, 320, et cetera. It is in the FOIA section, the Freedom of Information Act. And so the Freedom of Information Act tells us what we can and can't add to an agenda. And we are held to standards with that, and we have to follow that. Now, if you would like for me to ask the county attorney to give you a workshop on the Freedom of Information Act, she is apparently state's FOIA queen. She has a long history of doing FOIA work, and be more than happy to have her come in and explain those processes.
I personally would really like that, because when I signed, I was told to look at these policies and procedures in place. I was not given any FOIA information. So, yeah, that.
Happy to do it. Be very happy to do that.
I have something else to say, please.
Ms. Stinglenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's also important to note, I feel really uncomfortable to sit up here feeling like we look incompetent, and I'm embarrassed a little bit to be sitting here because we're setting the illusion of mistrust and not being transparent. It doesn't sit right. As far as I've been on this board, which is longer than everyone except Ms. Henson to my right, it has always been in July. From everyone I've talked to that sat here that's no longer here, it has always been in July. I found it interesting to find that the videos of July past meetings are not currently up on the website to find. And I know from my own, oftentimes having to correct our records, that looking back at the records might not be the most accurate place to look for that information. It's a little disrespectful for us to volunteer our time often, all the time, weekly, for Planning Commission stuff, to not even be given the common courtesy of a phone call, of a text message, of an email from anyone on the staff or even our sitting chairman to let us know that this wasn't happening tonight. It feels very blindsided, and it's embarrassing to be a part of this commission.
Well, I apologize for any uncomfortableness for you. Considering we give the packet out a week ahead of time, you have 8 days' notice that it wasn't on the agenda. And I can understand that you might think that something might be added on in that time frame, during which, if it was, we would let you know for sure. I'm also very happy to provide you with the minutes from 2000 to 2020 of each meeting where the officials have been elected. I don't go by the agendas, and I go by the official record of those meetings, and that's what we pulled when we did this research today. So thank you so much for your comments. I'll definitely take that under consideration. It's never our intention to be anything other than transparent. And I hate that you don't feel that we are, and I'll be happy to talk with you offline about ways that I can make you more comfortable with this process.
Thank you for your kind words.
Ms. Harden, before you return to your seat, would you please give us some guidance on how to withdraw that motion that is under?
I don't know that it was a motion. I think Ms. Tinklenberg asked the question, and that I had interpreted it as a motion, but I would ask for Ms. Tinklenberg to either restate the question or a motion. And if she didn't have a second, then there's no motion to carry forward. If she does have a second, then you vote up or vote down.
I'm sorry, say that
Then
last
you
part.
vote up or vote down.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. I'll just hang out.
Mr. Chairman, I'm still going to have another amendment to the notes from our June 17th.
So we want a second amendment on that motion?
Is it to the minutes?
Not to the minute, it's to the minutes, not to the,
So that's appropriate at the minutes time.
Yeah, but it's not relevant to our agenda vote here.
I tell you what, I would advocate the chairperson start over again with the call to approve the agenda or amend the agenda, since we've had a lot of discussion since then, and we don't have the ability to rewind the vocal. I think it would be a fair thing to start over again and let that process happen.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
We'll take Ms. Harden's advisement and move on the approval of the current agenda as it is, that we cannot change it at this time. Do I have a motion? I have to.
To make a motion that we leave it as it is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I make a motion. I'll second that.
I have a second. Motion from Ms. Henson, second from Ms. Richards. Show of hands. Motion is approved unanimously. Francis Liu is absent. Next item is approval of minutes from the 6/17/25 regular meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to amend page 12. So my comment about understanding and having a balance in our discussions and the negative language about trailers was taken out of context. I don't really have a opinion one way or another about trailers, but the context of the conversation, I do have objections about, so I would like that reflected accurately.
Okay, so what is the amendment?
The amendment is, I understand, but we have to balance our, we have to have a balance in our discussions. There was not a lot of negative language in the context of the conversation about trailers.
What?
Yeah, so what do you want?
What's being
What?
changed?
So we are talking about how trailers was positioned in the conversation, not necessarily about trailer. I don't have a feeling one way or the other about trailers, but the fact of the positioning of that housing unit in that discussion was inappropriate.
Okay, so I'm still not clear what the amendment to the minutes should be.
I will submit that to you in writing. Is that clear? Is that helpful?
And Mr. Chairman, if Ms. Curitan wants to submit an amendment to the minutes in writing, I suggest we continue those until the next meeting to give her time to submit the writing.
All right.
The other alternative is that if Ms. Curitan has a commentary rather than a clarification, then any member that would have a commentary would have the ability to vote to deny the minutes and put their statement on the record as to why, which is an alternative. But either way, whatever Ms. Curitan and you guys are comfortable with, we'll go with that. But there's two options for her.
Okay, so you have motion to amend the minutes, and you'll submit that response,
That is correct.
right? Well, I don't hear a second on that, and I think if you really want to get the minutes changed, that we need to have that in writing. So as Ms. Harden stated, we need a continuance on the
I'll
approval
second it.
of the minutes. All right, so,
Ms. Teekleberg has seconded Ms. Curitan's offer to amend in writing. And what that does is that makes it to where you have to vote on that now. You do not have what Ms. Curitan has in writing, so it would be based upon accepting something in the future that you don't have review of.
Wait, real quick, did she mention in writing, or did you add that?
she said she would add in writing, submit in writing later. So we have a second, so we're going to vote. But you're asking us to approve minutes with an addition that no one gets to look at,
No.
right?
So I'm going to make a motion to deny the minutes.
Well, we've already had a motion and a second, so we're going to have to vote on that,
Unless they remove their motion.
unless you withdraw.
I'll withdraw the motion. I'll make a motion to deny the minutes.
Second.
Motion to deny the minutes. Show of hands. 5-1. Myself not voting for that.
So what we will do is at the next meeting, we will bring forward a new set of minutes. Ms. Curitan, if you would send your notes to Ms. Bryan, and we will bring them back up as we'll bring an amended version back to you at the next meeting, since this version did not pass. Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there a date that we need to have that submitted by Ms. Curitan, so there's no...
I'll have it tonight after this meeting, no problem.
Sure, but just even if we have, what we typically do is we will send you information a week before the meeting, so a week before that. So 2 Tuesdays before the next meeting, so that we have a week to work it in and clarify and make sure we've got everything right.
I just wanted to clarify what that date needed to be, make sure
Thank
she
you.
got her comments in correctly.
That would be by August 5th.
Okay.
All right, well, that brings us into citizens' comments. No one has a sign to speak for public comments, so we will consider ourselves out of.
Citizens' comments in general is a general comment. The comments that you signed up for at the table were for specific items, and as we go through that, we'll get that. I didn't share there was a request in the record, but the application did not amend the agenda.
Our first item for public hearing is text amendment 2025-1306, Medical University of South Carolina and Lowe's.
The presentation, I'm going to be giving the presentation. Our planning director is out for this weekend training. We're very happy to have her in training, and I'm happy to represent the staff for this. This is a application submitted by MUSC and Lowe's Foods regarding signage and definitions. Highlights from the staff report indicate that the applicants would like to have additional signage available in square footage, meaning for the different uses that they are representing, in particular the large-scale grocery seller and a regional hospital facility. For those of you that were here in 2023, you realize that we went through something similar to this with Costco and with MUSC at that time. This is an addition to that. So the proposed amendment was in 3 parts, or 2 parts actually, 2 wall sign amendments and 2 definition amendments. At your table today is an amended staff report because the original staff report did not include a portion of the wall sign proposal in there. So with my apologies, we've added on to that, and that is here in this presentation as well. So the proposed amendment for the wall signage, the maximum or the minimum area, maximum area shown in the zones light industrial, high industrial, general business, and regional business is proposed to be expanded. The large-scale retailer section was expanded under the Costco amendment, so the additional language for this would be a maximum 400 square feet on a maximum of 2 walls, not going to go above 800 square feet for regional hospital facility, and a maximum of 250 square feet on each of maximum of 2 walls for large-scale grocery store. That's for those 4 zones that is indicated there. The part that was not in the staff report but was in the application that was included with your staff report is to include similar language under the zone area for NB, INS, RMX, MX, and IMX. That is regional business, neighborhood business. INS is institutional, RMX is regional mixed use or residential mixed use, MX is mixed use, and I is industrial mixed use. And that would include additional signage for the regional hospital facility and a large-scale retailer and a large-scale grocery store. So it looks to further expand the regional large-scale retailer. Those are challenges in their own right, but in the past, what we've looked at and studied about signage is that we do have a very restrictive signage ordinance, and we do have proposals to amend it coming up in the UDO. However, this applicant's permit is pending now, and they prefer to go forward with a request to change. So to give you an idea of what it looks like on the highway, for those that were here in 2023, this is a repeat. For those that weren't, this is new to you. But we provided this data regarding signage on Highway 521 in the vicinity of the Costco area, which is also the vicinity of Lowe's and the MUSC. So to give you an idea of what signs look like, Jennifer, would you mind clicking back on that for me? So go back to the first one, please. I may just have to ask you for clicking, or if you'll pass that over to Kirsten, that'd be fine too. So for Aldi at 9553 Charlotte Highway, the signage is shown on the screen. The square footage is shown on the screen. We did this report back in 2023. The signage for these have not changed. Aldi has 2 30-square-foot signs. That is the extent of their grocery store signage for that site. If you go through, please. Food Lion at 8175. And Aldi was zoned regional business, RB. Food Lion at 8175 Charlotte Highway is part of a planned development district. That means that they write their own zoning, so this zoning is not existing anywhere else in the county except for this particular district. Food Lion has 175 square feet, and their building square footage is 46,000. If you go to the next, please. For Harris Teeter at 6271 Carolina Commons Drive, their square footage of their building is 54,000. Their wall signage is 215 square feet, plus a 30-square-foot smaller one over the pharmacy. And that is also in a planned development district, so that zoning only exists there. Go to the next one, please. For Lowe's Home Improvement and 181 Fort Mill Highway, it has dual frontage, and this was done in 2009. We've looked for the sign permit for this. We have not been able to put a finger on it yet. The square footage of this building is 150,000, and all of these numbers that sound rounded off, they are. I've rounded them off to the nearest 0 or 5 because it's not exact. It's not an exact science, but it gives you a general. And I kept that throughout the research. This has 500 square feet plus another 50 and another 100 for the outdoor area and the garden area. And this is in regional business RB, and it is 750 feet from the main road. For the next one, if you go please. For Publix at 8360 Charlotte Highway, that's a 52,000 square foot area. They have 200 square foot of wall signage on the front. They're also 700 feet from the road and zoned general business. Go ahead, please. And then the Walmart at 10,048 Charlotte Highway has 165,000 square feet and 150 square foot of signage on the front. And that is 800 feet from the road and zoned regional business. The area, to give you also a characterization of what 400 square feet looks like, because the request is to upgrade to 400 square feet on two walls, equaling 800 square feet per project, is that in Lancaster County regulations, a billboard limit is 400 square feet. So you see the smaller billboards that are up on a monopole, that's what 400 square foot looks like. Again, staff understands that there should be scale with signage to be appropriate with the buildings and with the need. Signage is important. Signage gets us to the right place, the right time. Signage is part of a business package. Signage is part of your marketing. Signage is part of wayfinding. So we agree that something needs to change. What we haven't done in this staff report is tell you where else this would impact, because the changes are very general. One of the things that we did not discuss in the staff report because it wasn't in there was the change request under the MX also impacts neighborhood business, and neighborhood business is right beside residential primarily. And so there may be an impact to that. Then the second part of the request is for definition change. We have very little concern about the definition change, and we're going forward with different definitions in the UDO as well. The definition change is just to make sure that we know exactly which type of building is assigned the square footage for the signage in that code amendment. And so that it also happens to align with the comprehensive plan, in that the comprehensive plan says that we should work toward growth, service, and sustainability, ensuring that resources are in place to meet the demands of the rapidly growing area. Since this has been brought up before as amendment to the UDO, we definitely have already anticipated that we need to relook at signage and how much we allow on the larger buildings. It is part of the UDO amendments, but it's not going to be in time to help this applicant, which is why they're before you.
Thank you, Ms. Harden.
Yes, sir.
Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Would you care to come speak at the dais? Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Sam Walker, 1827 Thomas Avenue, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28205. Do you guys want to introduce yourself?
Grant Wiley with LSTP Architects, 205.5 King Street, Charleston, South Carolina.
Dave Copenafer with MDI Management and Lowe's Foods, 1462 Finsbury, TGK, South Carolina.
So Sam Walker, I'm here representing MUSC. Dave is representing Lowe's. Grant is the architect with LS3P on behalf of MUSC as well. A couple of comments following up from Allison's introduction. I think the most important word there is proportional. So what we're seeking to do is deliver a building sign that is proportional to the building size. Not only is that square footage, in a lot of those examples, as well as the Lowe's, those are one-story buildings. And so looking at how wide your building is on a one-story, making sure that we're able to have the proportional sign to that. The key difference with the hospital, one, there's not a hospital ordinance, right? So we're zoned RB. We've been working through the zoning ordinance as it's currently written. We did do the text amendment in 2023, but we're trying to guard against any future application of this text amendment request by defining what a hospital is. So our regional hospital facility that is, I think, over 50 beds, it's very unlikely that another one of those is built along 521. So while it might feel general that we're making this request of your team and of this board, we feel like we are specifying it by including the definition modification there. So that definition, as we've written it in the amendment, is regional hospital facility is a hospital facility with at least 25, sorry, I think I mentioned 50, 25 inpatient hospital rooms. These are patients who are staying there overnight, often for multiple nights in a row, weeks at a time, located in buildings of at least 50,000 square feet of gross area. For reference, our hospital is 3 times the size of that. It's 150,000 square feet. Provide some further context on our site. Is this so I can try. So on the site plan, the face of our building where the sign would be located, you'll see on the second page of this PDF document is on the 4th story of our building. Our building face is located 400 plus feet away from 521. With the nature of people who are visiting the hospital, often very nervous, they've got a sick family member or a passenger in their vehicle, signage is key to be able to identify where to go, as well as to strengthen the brand that MUSC is trying to create in this market. We have a couple of images when the technology arrives that you'll see what our current permitted sign would be, which is 75 square feet. It's very hard to see in that image and would be impossible to see from 521 entering the site. And the 400 square feet is a number that we arrived at. Again, yeah, you can go to page 2. So that's the 75 square foot example there in the top. And then if you go to page 3, please, whenever that works, this is 400 square feet. So again, back to the word proportional, we feel like the proportion of this sign is equal to the proportion of the building. 4-story building necessitates a larger sign. And 400 square feet is a number that is a little bit less scientific than you might think. It is kind of the allowable size that is on that red rectangle up there. It also falls in line with some of the other hospitals that we've studied in the market. And again, this, yes, please, just one. Yep, so this is, that red rectangle would be the extent of a 75 square foot wall sign. Go to, yeah, and then we can move forward 2 slides. There is some language in the text amendment as well. Obviously, our building will not look like a kind of a NASCAR where it's got signs all over the place. We need to be very strategic, but there are certain signs on the hospital building that are code required that we would ask not to be included in the 400 square foot total. Some of those are pointed out here, very hard to see from where I stand, but they say ambulance on them. So that's, again, for the EMS first responders. Could be a mass casualty event. They need to find the emergency department as quick as possible. And so we would ask that, yeah, so you can see on the top image on the left-hand side there is the ambulance bay. It says ambulance. And then on the lower image, really hard to see, there's a red sign against the red brick building behind. That also says ambulance. You might have to trust me on that one because I can't even read it. I think that's it from a hospital standpoint.
Thank you. For Lowe's Foods, I placed this in here to give perspective. As it was alluded to the prior time in 2023, you've made an amendment to the text allowing for a large-scale retailer, I believe was classified as 100,000 square feet, allowing for 400 square feet on each sign face. For perspective for you, I'm talking about my Lowe's grocery store and wanted you to see a visual that Costco, who will qualify for that piece, is immediately adjacent to our store. So giving perspective as we talk about compatibility and competitive rationales looking for positioning in the market that can give us a chance. If you go to the second slide with some more detail, I think it's important to note, and as staff referenced, it's not just the size proportional to our building, but also offset off of Charlotte Highway. So giving you a few measurements we're talking about, and I know you can't see it with your eyes, it's plus 750 750 feet directly from our front door out to the road, or it'd be plus 850 feet out to the intersection, the angle that you see down to the bottom. I think what's important to note is this site sits down a bit in a hole. We've built up the site, but we're talking about a location that is below grade, and I want to draw specific attention to recognizing that there are 4 outlots in front of us. So if we talk about visibility in different pieces from Charlotte Highway, you're going to be blocked already. Maximizing our signage consistent with what we do at our other stores has become very important to us. You can go to my next. Here's a visual to show you. The difference for us, the top version is the 198 square foot sign. This is what we do at 80 other grocery stores. Every single one is the exact same size. We've given you a visual of what 50 square feet would look like. The difference here and what staff referenced, why it's in 2 different sections, is my property is in the mixed use zoning designation, the MX. And that's a stricter requirement than the 75 square feet that they were talking about. It's 50 square feet for me. So calling specific attention to a much smaller piece that I'm allowed to go do per current policy. If you can go to the next, please. I think staff referenced, I picked three certainly that are the most comparable to us. Completely agree. As you work your way across, be consistent with, we're a 51,000 square foot grocer. So right in between what these 3 operate at. If you looked at Publix, I would say very consistent with where we are, writing down 200 square feet. And I would also say that they added a pharmacy sign over to the left that could be updated. Maybe that was since 2023, but they're up to 230 square feet when you add their pharmacy sign. Very similar to Harris Teeter, that's plus 240. So I think I had one last one. Just wanting you guys to see a visual of what this looks like. Reinforcing, like I said, we operate 80 grocery stores. We build this same 198 square foot sign at every one, and reclassifying why we wrote the provision as proposed to you at 250 square feet. It's to maximize those 2 signages. We have a secondary entrance on the left, a Lowe's Foods to Go. So combine our square footage here, the square footage of that Lowe's Foods to Go, why we rationalized what we've requested for you of only 250 square feet. From our perspective, being rational in between what you granted before at 400 square feet, something less for our building, but something consistent with what's existed in the marketplace. Happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicant? I'll start. I'm a little confused. Here on my sheet, it says 400 square foot for sorry, like I said, I'm a little confused here because I was misreading something, but 400 square foot for the hospital and 250 for the shopping centers, right? Okay. Is your intent to have any of that lighting?
I believe ours are internally illuminated channel letters, consistent with what you would see elsewhere. Yes, sir.
Because it's somewhere in here, and like I said, I might have misread it. I thought that it read that it was going to be 400 square feet for the retail grocery versus 250 for the hospital. I said it might be me.
No, what it looks like it's happened is that they copied the language from the general business section that applies to the hospital area and put it into the MX section. And while I give them definite credit for not putting 400 square feet on each side for the grocery store, it did incorporate all of the other things in there, including the regional hospital facility and the large-scale retailer, which it wasn't in the original in that zone, in particular because as you said, that there's 50 square feet allowed in MX zones. MX zones are supposed to be and typically are walkable areas, and that's why that's a much smaller size. This just happens to be a large grocery store in a MX zone, so he has to ask for amendments to the MX zone to accommodate this grocery store. And it's almost exactly half of what Costco requested across the way, so I can understand that too. But the rest of this is, unless the hospital is locating in the MX or a neighborhood business, this is not something staff could support the rest of it, because the impact to potential adjacent residential units, especially from the neighborhood business side. But I don't really have a list, unfortunately, of where those zones are. If you decide that you want to have more information, I'm happy to create that and pull that and bring that back to you.
Thank you, Ms. White.
I would add, if it's helpful to rule today, I don't think that we care to add the hospital to that designation. If you just wanted to strike as one of the recommendations, we would absolutely go do that. We were trying to be consistent, but leave it to your body if that's important to you.
Okay, so if you're going to have lit signs here, how does that reflect our current lighting standards?
Or not visual. It will be under the current lighting standards until and such time that the new UDO is done, and then any signs that are created after that would have to be at the newer standards. I believe we walked through the new standards, which are involve the dark sky proponents and making sure that the lighting is all arrowed down, and it has the dark and the light, or it has the warm and the cool indicators in it as well. We don't have that in there yet. If they get this application in before the UDO is done, it will be under current standards, which still require the light to be shining down on the ground, but doesn't have as much as the new UDO proposal.
While you're still up there, Ms. Harden, do we have a restriction on the height of lighted signage?
We don't have a restriction on a height for lit signage in particular. We do have restrictions such as signage can't go above the parapet, can't go above the top of the building, or can't break the plane of the roof. And I can't remember any of the other distinct location restrictions other than it can't go above that area. I can look it up for you while they talk.
Well, one other question for you too, and you may not be able to pull this one so quickly. I'm just curious if this information is available. Do we have a count even of how many stores this would fit into? Or I'm sorry, how many stores would fit into this description that would then be able to theoretically go out and replace their sign with something bigger?
Yeah, we don't, but we can create that quickly. Well, not in the next hour, but we can create that fairly simply. Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, any other questions for the applicants? Commissioners? Go ahead, Ms. Richards.
I see in some places you refer to it as large-scale grocery store, and in other places it's referred to as large-scale retailers. So that's two different things.
The large-scale retailers is what you approved in 2023.
Okay.
So that's the existing policy.
Okay. Thank you.
I believe carved out specifically for 100,000 square feet was that designation.
Anyone else?
So, let me see if
Simpson?
I'm clear on this. Where you're talking about, I think you said if this is passed, this also goes along to neighborhood businesses. What is that exactly? What does that look like? Is that something that's going to be, is this just for what we're looking at tonight, or is this something that's going to be changed in the UDO going forward? What does that look like right now? Could you please clarify that for me?
Yes, ma'am. The way that it's written, it would be in all the MXs plus all the institutionals, which are school zones, church zones, and institutional civil properties. And then the neighborhood business is the smallest form of business that we provide access for because it's close to neighborhoods, so it's supposed to be smaller type uses. the neighborhood business is lumped in with the other MXs because there's often residential with the MX. You have the apartments above the business, et cetera. So beg your pardon, the neighborhood business is more like supports things like salons and utilities, and where else in my neighborhood business? I apologize. Interpretation on the fly is fun. Community facilities, event and banquet halls, places of assembly, private recreation facilities, public recreation facilities, public safety stations, child daycare, studio, all of that is allowed in the neighborhood business, but in order to get that additional signage, it would have to meet the definitions that they provided. So that is one safety net that they have provided in there, that it has to meet that definition of 50,000 square feet or more in a grocery store. However, a lot of our grocery stores are more than 50,000 square feet. The Aldi, for instance, is not, but the other ones in the examples that I provided earlier are all over 50,000 square feet. I just don't have it mapped out. I can get it mapped out where all they are and what zone they're in and what the impacts would be. I just don't have that right now.
Thank you.
And just to expand upon that, that's why I went back to the original statement about proportional. So there's a large bucket for the zoning of which you could have anything perhaps from a nail salon of 1,000 square feet to a Lowe's of 50,000 square feet. Our hope is that the 1,000 could have a proportional sign for their 1,000 square foot business, and Lowe's could have a proportional sign for their 50,000 square foot business. So that's why we amended the text within the zoning buckets, but then, as Allison mentioned, try to apply these restrictions that, okay, yes, you're in the neighborhood business zoning and you're 50,000 square feet, therefore you get this signage. But if you're a 1,000 square foot nail salon, you do not get a 400 square foot sign.
It's an important clarifier, that 50,000 square foot designation. As a person who works in this industry with grocery, you've seen on this list the people that operate grocery stores in that space. It's a very small group that are more than 50,000 square feet. And I think, to be very clear, I think the way that this is written, it only applies to that. So you saw on that list the Food Lion, Publix, Harris Teeter, Walmart, Target is the only thing that was not on that list. And we'll be dealing with that one shortly, but I think they qualified by the 100,000 square feet, so they won't need to come.
Commissioners, any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We now consider ourselves into public hearing. No one is assigned to speak, so we consider ourselves out of public hearing. Commissioners, you have before you case text amendment 2025-1306. Do I hear a motion?
I have a comment. I would love to see more information based on the conversation that Ms. Hart just offered. I'd love to see a list of all the current businesses in the neighborhood business that are going to be affected, so we don't have to make interpretations on the fly, and to your point, so that we don't have to approve language that we haven't seen yet.
Appreciate that. So in that case, a motion to continue.
I make a motion to continue.
I have a second. Ms. Curitan motion, Ms. Tinklenberg second. Any discussion around the continuance? Well, I would say is exactly as Ms. Curitan did, that considering the information that we could really use to not make a judgment on the fly from the impact around, I would be very interested in what excluded, what federally required signage is required for the hospital sector. I think that needs to be put in there so that there's no confusion. I am also curious about the square footage, that there's many of those stores that were on the list that we saw just now are right at the cusp of 50,000 feet. And I do see where fair and equitable doesn't eliminate somebody because they're 10 square feet short of this requirement, especially for an existing store. I think the lighting standards for what happens at elevated levels, especially considering how tall a hospital could be, need to be reviewed with this. And then I'm also concerned, Ms. Harden, if you would take a note that the co-requisite of a roadside placards and signage, how those apply, and in the event, let's say, for example, you have a 2,000 square foot sign out at the road, do you really need another giant sign on two sides of the building? So with that in mind, Commissioners, you have a motion for a continuance and a second.
Make the motion for continuance.
We did.
Make the motion.
Yeah, and it's been seconded. Thank you. You're good. So show of hands. 6 unanimous. Ms. Frances Liu was not present. And what is our continuance date for that? August 19th. All right, our next item is rezoning 2025-1514 Kershaw zoning corrections. We have 5 properties, parcels, pardon me.
I'll present from here.
For the record, Ms. Bryan is making the presentation. She's going to sit over there since the clicker isn't working. And since we're still on voice, she'll speak right into the microphone, ask any questions.
No problem. Ms. Bryan, before you start, please, there's 5 of them here. Do we need to make a vote on each one, or is it going to be as a group of the single case?
That will be up to you. Last time, we had one property owner that requested to be separated, so I labeled these A through E in case anyone chooses to do that, but that will be at your discretion.
Thank you. Please continue.
If there are no objections, we can do it as one. So there are 5 properties that the town of Kershaw has requested to assign base zoning to. These were missed when they did their zoning map, when they originated their zoning map, and they're getting ready to revise their documents, so they need to update their zoning map. And we already heard several of them last month, but we've got these 5, and this should be all that they're going to do for redoing their zoning map. So the first, this is the process of what we're doing. It requires a public hearing for them to take this step, but it is not as involved as a rezoning would be because we're not changing any uses. They're all taking the use that already exists. It's not going to change their tax basis. It's not going to change anything. It's just going to fill in their map. First parcel is on Hamel Street. It is owned by Joan Clyburn, currently unzoned. This is right behind the IGA. If you see on the picture there, the big white roof right in front of this property is the IGA. The same family owns the property behind it. So they're requesting, when the city talked to them, they requested that it be zoned B3 general commercial. The next property is the Kershaw Hardware and Supply on Shop Road. Again, this is unzoned, and as it is already an established business, the current use is general commercial, so the city is requesting that it be zoned general commercial. Next property is on Jones Street. This is a residential property. The city is requesting to change it from unzoned to R15 moderate density residential to fit with the existing use. The next property is on Southampton Street. This is a stretch of property owned by Norfolk Southern Railroad, and in its current use and to conform with what's around it. The city is requesting B1 central business. And last is property on East Church Street. This is residential, owned by Willard and Patricia Dennis. And the city is requesting that this conform to the existing use, which would be R6 high-density residential. I say high density, it is a higher density than R15, but it is kind of the suburban residential area of Kershaw.
Thank you, Ms.
And staff recommends approval. It will rectify the errors in the map for Kershaw's Unified Development Ordinance and the zoning map. And that's all I have. Ready for questions?
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anybody from Kershaw City here? No? All right. Commissioners, do you have any questions for staff? No questions.
Well, we want to ask the only resident of Kershaw. I'm sure she's gotten an earful. So what's the scuttlebutt?
This, it all needs to be done to bring us up in the world. We have been sort of, not getting all this right, and the town of Kershaw just wants it right for the county. And I'm sure the county is jumping up and down. So that's a good thing.
And Kershaw is getting ready to update their UDO and their, all their comprehensive plan and all their documents, just as the county is doing. So in order to do that, they're paving the way by getting these little errors corrected.
It's a good thing.
I'm just looking at it and just making sure that I am clear on this. It looks like all of them are smaller parcels of land, and everything that is being changed or actually just written in is going to be consistent with what that is already currently zoned.
None of the uses will change, and all the requested base zoning is to conform to what it's currently used as.
Thank you.
Anything else, commissioners? We now consider ourselves into public hearing. No one is assigned to speak, so we consider ourselves out of public hearing. Commissioners, you have before you case number rezoning 2025-1514 Kershaw zoning corrections. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
I second it.
Ms. Curitan, motion to approve. Ms. Sheila Henson, seconds. Any discussions? Commissioners, case number RZ 2025-1514, show of hands. Vote is unanimous, 6. Ms. Frances Liu is not here. Now into public hearing items for Site Development 2024-1442 Shadow Moss. Is it the applicant still intent to defer?
This report was, Mr. Blazek, sorry. Go ahead and tell them they
Yes.
reached out.
The applicant has reached out and intends to defer to the September Planning Commission agenda.
Has asked you.
Asked to.
They, as far as, you tell me if I'm wrong, when they received the technical review comments, they wanted the ability to correct them, and they have not finished correcting them yet. So,
Commissioners, any questions for staff? Ms. Kuchenberg?
I don't know that I have a problem with the deferral, but I do, if there's folks that are here that made the effort to come tonight and have things that they want us to know about it, I think we should probably listen to them.
So you do have the option to, listening to the public for this item. At the end, when you take the input from that, you can continue that on to the next meeting, and if you intend to continue it. But if you intend to make an action today, because there's a 60-day notice or 60-day window in state law, and we use 45 for review, that the two options that you have if you do not continue are you don't get conditional, it's either yes or no. It has to be done because the state law will assume that it's being approved after 60 days, and the next meeting for you is past the 60. So you can talk to them, you can talk to the public today, absolutely. And since the applicant has requested a deferral to the September meeting, you can pick the business back up in September. But if you're intending on making a vote on this today, is the applicant here?
Yes.
Okay, the applicant is here, can themselves.
So let me get this straight back. If we proceed and we have a public hearing on this and the applicant does or does not speak, we have to take a vote.
No, you have to, you can continue it, but if you're going to make a decision on it today, we're going to recommend denial because we don't have the full package of information of the updates.
As the TRC was.
And that's, our hands are tied on that. It's
Okay.
whether we like it or not, we have to recommend that because we haven't got the finalization for that.
Okay, so we're still open for a up or down or a continuance either way.
Sorry, I didn't word it correctly. I was a little muddled.
It's hot over here too, don't worry. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Blazik. At request of one of the commission members, does the applicant wish to come up and speak? And understand if you just want to defer, you do not have to speak.
Yeah, I would like to defer, please, to the September meeting.
And that's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So we're unable to hear from the residents around there, is that my understanding?
So now we find ourselves in public hearing. So when I,
Open the public hearing and yes.
yeah. So if you have signed to speak, I'll call your name. Come up to the dais. You'll have 3 minutes to speak once you state your name and address. Let's start with Sandra Sikorsky.
Hi, my name is Sandy Sikorsky. I live at 1997 Emma Circle in Lancaster, which is in the neighborhood of Hilldale, very close. I have some information that was handed to me by an acquaintance that I just met tonight. It has a lot of data in it, a lot of numbers. I do not want to dishonor her by not giving it properly. Talking about resources and the number of homes that are already been approved, estimated 10,000 in Lancaster with an estimated 24,000 additional residents. And the taxing of all of our resources, and I don't mean taxing as far as money, I mean, stressing the resources, the school districts, the roads, and also our emergency services. And by living in that neighborhood, no, I do not want to see 100 residential units right there. I understand development, but the trees, the wildlife, everything being taken down, I don't want that I purchased my home for a reason, to be in an area that it was not a city, and I don't want to have that there. So, and this is my first time at a meeting, and I'm not sure if I'm doing this right or wrong, but that is what I wanted to say. I do not want to see that, and I don't know that my neighbors want to either. We like our neighborhood. We have been there, a lot of people have been there a very, very long time, since the 70s, and they're very happy. And they do not want to see 100 units just a stone's throw from their front yard. Thank you.
You're very welcome, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Sikorsky. Barbara Scannell? Did she, okay, yep.
Ms. Scannell had to leave for a different meeting. She left her written statement, and copies have been provided for you. We'll provide one for the record as well.
Ms. Harden? Taranka Johnson? I hope I did not butcher your name, ma'am. Please, your name and address for the record.
Taranka Johnson, 775 Hilldale Drive. I have also submitted, hopefully, a letter that you all have as part of your packet, so I won't go through this whole thing. But I request that you deny the approval of this new 198 or 100 lot single-family residential subdivision once again. This is our third time around. We went through this in 2002 with 130 homes, and we went through it in 2006 with 130 homes. We're here again with 100 homes. Note that the plan calls for future connections, so this is not the end with just this 100 homes in this particular area off of Hilldale Drive. I purchased my home over 30 years ago for the reasons of off of a main street with not much traffic, a quiet area, and not a lot of homes around me. Perfect place. The building of this subdivision in my back door, and I mean in my back door right next to me where my property is located, I do not want. We are concerned about the amount of traffic that's going to be coming on Hilldale Drive, and I understand that the new plan calls for a turning lane off of a side road. That's going to be too much traffic. If it's enough that they consider it a turning lane, it's going to be too much traffic. 100 homes is going to mean 200 or more cars coming onto that. Also on Hilldale Drive, Emerald Estates, Emma Circle, Diamond Circle, Sunshine to Foster Heights, and Foster Heights all together, which is from 903 to almost number 9, Sunshine, that community, there's only about 104 homes. And you're talking about putting 153 acres beside me. Again, I just request that your understanding and your casting of a vote to deny the Saddle Moss subdivision in my neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I think this says Ruby Rucker, is that? Did I? Oh, no. Yeah.
I don't have the amount that people been talking about. I just found out about the homes.
Would you do me a favor and give me your name and address, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't be, it's okay.
Ruby Rucker, 618 Hillsdale Drive. I've been living there 60 years. And I own property where they are trying to put homes. And we already have enough traffic from the sirens coming from number 9 to 903. It's too many things coming through there now. We have truck drivers, speeding cars, and my grandkids and my neighbor grandkids ride their bikes. This is a neighborhood. We don't need no 100 and some more houses in out there. I own about 100 acres out there anyway. People have been asking me to buy. I will not sell that property to no one putting 100 and some houses where my grandkids live. That is impossible. It's too much traffic out there already. I just found out about this yesterday. It's too much. Ambulance come from number 9 to 903, speeding. Cars come through there already. We don't need that. So you decide yourself if these people coming in here from North Carolina and wherever they're coming from, we don't need that. Not at all. I could sell my property to a lot of people for things like that, but I'm not. We don't need that 100 and some acres in my neighborhood because it's not right. I don't know I just found out about it. I don't have all the written stuff on it, but we do not need no 100 and some houses out there anymore. It's too much traffic now coming from 9 to 903. We do not need it. And I have 100 and some acres. I will not sell it to no development out there. So whatever they want to do, we're going to fight it to the end. because I'm not going to allow it, not at all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And one more is Jerry Witherspoon. Is that correct? Take your time, sir. When you get up there, if you please.
I'll follow the protocol. I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm Jerry Witherspoon. I live at 570 Hilldale Drive. I think I've been out there 40, gosh. Yeah, that's my baby child there. 42 years. I helped build some of these homes. I mean, when Dr. Rooker's house was being built, I participated in the construction of that. So I've been there a long time. And a lot of our neighbors have, they're widows out there now. And that's serious business. Serious business. So most of them are widows. And the thing is that there's too many homes in that little small area. Too many. Now, we've fought this thing 3 times already. Ms. Johnson has already alluded to that. The fact that we have fought, and we're going to keep on fighting. We don't want it. And there's too many homes in that area. We're saying 52 acres and 100 homes. Just think about it. Just think about it. Don't want it. Don't want it. And the whole thing is that we're going to keep fighting till the end. And to get Ms. Rooker out here, you know that's serious business. You know, the thing is that a lot of people won't even stand up for anything, but we're standing up. And we don't want these homes to be built out there. And it's going to be almost like another project, as close as these homes are. Now, my experience has been, I've been the finance director here at the county. I've been the deputy administrator here at the county. And I've also managed the housing authority till I retire. So when you get this many people in that little small area like that, you're going to have problems on top of problems. And you don't have the roads and exits out of the property. Just imagine in your neighborhood how you would feel. How would you feel? You know, just pause for a moment and think about it. Now, I'm at an age now, I'm in my 70s now. I think I moved there when I was in my maybe 30s or late 20s. But time has passed by, and we don't need this many homes in that area. That includes Foster Heights, Diamond Circle, Airman Estates, all of us. And we're here to fight the only way we know how.
Time.
Okay? Come to public hearing and say what we got to say. Okay? But please consider us longtime residents and taxpayers in Lancaster County. We don't want this. All right?
And thank you for your service to our community, sir. It sounds like you've been here for a while.
I have. Thank you. I'm just going to find me a seat.
That concludes our assignees to speak, so we consider ourselves out of public hearing. Commissioners, you have before you case number SD 20241442. The applicant has applied or has requested a deferral. We do have the option to motion for approval. So do I hear a motion?
To defer.
Motion to defer from Ms. Tinklenberg, second from Ms. Richards. Show of hands.
Can I ask when Shadow Moss came, because this is like How many times have we had this come before us?
This will be the fourth.
This is the fourth
This is the
time?
fourth time we've had to postpone it.
Motion passed for continuance, 6-0. Ms. Lou was not here. And what is the date for that continuance? This will be August?
They specifically requested September.
Okay.
That'll be September 16th.
September 16th. Our next case is SD 20230677, Edgewater Phase 9. I understand there was a request to defer on this one as well.
Yes, the applicant has also requested to defer to the August Plan Commission agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Blaze. Commissioners, I believe the applicant is here. If you care to speak.
Yes. Joel Madden with True Homes. Yes, we'd like to defer to the August meeting.
Name and address.
Joel Madden, 10614 Glen Eden Court, Mint Hill, North Carolina.
Commissioners, any questions for the applicant? No. Okay. We'll consider thank you, sir. We'll consider ourselves in the public hearing. One person signed up for a public hearing, but she has vacated. I'm sure she turned in her comments otherwise. So we'll consider ourselves at a public hearing. Commissioners, case number SD 20230677, Edgewater Phase 9. Do I hear a motion to defer?
Motion to defer until August.
Seconded.
Motion from Ms. Lynette Henson to defer, second from Ms. Tinklenberg.
Thank you.
Commissioners, you have a motion before you to defer until the next meeting. Show of hands. Vote is unanimous, 6-0. Ms. Lou is not present.
And that meeting will be August 19th.
August 19th, sir. All right, so that moves us into other. I believe Ms. Harden has something to show everyone.
Thank you. Since the chairman sent out an invitation to the Planning Commission to participate in the UDO meetings and also for the workshop that we're having, the stakeholder workshop tomorrow, to go along with that, you have a copy now of the section that we're working on currently, which is it's known as Module 4. It is the administration section. It includes how things are administered. It includes processes that we go through, applications or submittal requirements, definitions, and vested rights and nonconformities. Nonconformities and vested rights are driven by the state code of laws in the section that you referred to earlier, Ms. Curitin, the Title VI, Chapter 29, and the Planning Enabling Act of 1994. So there's very little change that we'll make to those because we have certain boundaries that we have to keep in play with this, according to state law. As for the processes and procedures, we'll also have those. We won't be able to change things that relate to state law, but we will be able to adjust how we do business. And the things that we can adjust, I want you to make sure to have a voice in that because you are part of our expert team. You are sitting at the dais every month. You know what we provide and what we don't provide and what we need to provide. You know how things go and how things are handled. I'd love to have your input on that. To help make the draft that goes to the public, hopefully in October, more complete and better run. So this is really where you guys have, all of you have equal share in comments here, because this is not just technical. This is how does information get to you, and what processes do we take the public through for the different parts of the UDO. So we really would like to encourage you to participate. You will still have participation when we come through the public processes, but this is ahead of the public draft that gets done. And so we'd like to get the public draft as close to a good solid starting point as we can. And that will really benefit from your input.
Ms. Hart.
Have I said the same thing 4 different ways?
We'll find another one eventually. Commissioners, any questions about this? What it takes? I did send out an email to everyone previously, the part of us that has participated in this over time. As I stated in my email, it can get somewhat into the weeds for the discussion purposes. However, this is your front line here on participating in what's going to be the law for everybody who follows you. So take it seriously, not that you won't, but keep in mind too that we're all going to have to discuss it, and there will be a lot to go over. So do yourself a favor, and everybody else, make sure you take some notes, read through it. A lot of it can become kind of muddled, and if you have any questions along the way, feel free to reach out, that someone will be able to guide you on or give you some vocabulary or something like that that can help you with it, so you don't have to feel too intimidated if it seems onerous, because this is the next section, and it's quite the homework assignment for a group of volunteers, but it's your opportunity to participate, as Mr. Witherspoon did there, that he was 41 years you've lived here, you said, and everything from housing authority. There was 2 other things I think you said, but
He's lived here longer than that. He just has lived in that neighborhood. Yes.
Again, that the number that I could hear was there. So I thank you for your service again to our community, sir, and to everyone else who's participated thus far on that. So without further ado, unless someone has anything else to add, ma'am?
Review of next month's agenda.
I like it.
We've got, with the addition of Edgewater moving to that, we have 5 preliminary plats. We've got small rezoning. We've got a new road name for a private driveway and a Kershaw annexation, small property. There are some others that have submitted applications but haven't met all the requirements. And it's going to be kind of an administrative call whether we allow them on the August agenda, because some of them are preliminary plats and we can't delay those if they don't agree. So there may be more than this, but given the track record of how things change when we get closer to the agenda, this is what we know of so far. So.
Well, I have a plug right here for a coffee maker, so.
We're going to need it.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got that one?
Yep.
Adjourn.
Names.
Whichever.